Called it. It skipped again. Yeah. I'm just wait till December, folks. I'll have a new one. I just gotta wait. Anyway, welcome back, everybody. It's Orange Hat here with Mara Jade. We're doing Thursday Night Singles, episode 8, Silver Bullet. So, yeah. And we got a bunch of people in the chat pre-stream. Great to see. Always a pleasure.
My cat out of the room, so I'll be right back.
All right. And let me get some banners on. Make sure that you tear that like button to pieces, just like Brady. Also, holy jumped up ball-headed Jesus Palomina.
Yes.
Love that line. I mean, Gary Busey, dude, is a freaking legend. I mean, I think he actually started doing Amazon Fire Stick commercials, which were freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
A few years ago. It's like, hello, lamp.
Yes.
Hello, legs. But it's hard when things don't listen. Find Gary Busey. Find Gary Busey! I mean, dude is freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
He also does a lot of Virgin on Prom Night jokes, too. But, yes. Let's say hello to the chat. And while we're highlighting, let everybody know where they can find you, Mara.
So, well, you can find me on my main channel. I will be getting back to making, try to get back to making videos, but there hasn't been either time or much to talk about. Because, again, I don't care if it's a hot button topic. If I don't care about the topic, I'm not going to make a video on it. I don't care for clickbaiting, pretty much. But tomorrow I'm going to try to go live for a solo stream early afternoon on my live channel, Jade Shadow Live, talking some D&D stuff that they're shit that Wizards of the Coast is doing, because now you can play an autistic character, because I guess people were clamoring for characters to be on the spectrum in D&D now, as well as ruining the Minotaur character. So I'll be talking about stuff like that plus other topics. And then Gary Busey's teeth is just
horrifying.
Yeah, I'm saying, it's
a horror movie unto themselves.
Yeah. That'd be live. Actually, more like an evening stream tomorrow. Hopefully, playing the new Spider-Man game. I do have an idea of where the story is going. I'm not a fan of it, but I'm going to continue playing the game, and then I'm going to try to go live again Saturday afternoon playing some Alien Isolation before Talk Nerdy to Us, which I don't know if it'll be on my channel or Steph's. So that's where all you can find me as far as social media dealing with streaming goes.
Yeah. Alrighty, and you guys all know where you can find me right here in this house. You can also find me on Mara's channel during the 1s and 2s. Also, I'm going to be doing Tolkien Sundays. I'm going to get that stream created tomorrow, so I will have the new playlist set up for the Tolkien Sundays. We're going to be doing extended edition Lord of the Rings, folks. Not scene by scene, because as much as I need the watch time, I'm not doing a 6-hour stream for a single movie. It ain't happening.
Well, it's the extended edition, so
yeah, as much as I'd love to, it ain't happening. Yes, this is a very fun movie. Fun fact, folks, I saw this movie for the first time when I was 4 years old. As I did Fright Night, the original. Yeah. Rip Brady, one of my favorite werewolf designs. I mean, yes, I got some trivia for this movie. Let's see here. One very interesting fact about this movie is it's directed by Dan Attias, and he has never directed another movie since. He has done TV shows only.
I mean, it's not the movie itself. I wouldn't say exactly is cinematic masterpiece per se, but at the same time, it's a good enough movie that he should have gotten, I would say, more work post. I guess that's maybe his choice.
It was his choice. Yeah. His choice. He wanted to stay with TV shows. Here is a link to Mara's live
Yeah.
channel. If this thing would start to... All right, this thing is jumping me all over the place, this chat. Or StreamYard, you are seriously fucking with my mojo, and I don't like it.
I don't know.
But it could be because this particular Chromebook is degrading, so it's old. Here's Mars Twitch. Neozoic, always a pleasure to see you. Finally, representation. Yeah. Let me guess, wheelchair representation or one-eyed representation, Gravy D?
No, I think
and the rest of the good folks just dropped.
I think it's mainly the autism representation, since now you can create a character like that.
I'd love to see how they plan on expressing the autism in that game. What game was it again?
D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, pretty much. So basically, pretty much a tabletop role-playing game where you can create any character you want. So you could make your character on the spectrum if you so choose, based on personality traits. But even before, I'm saying, even before, well before these rules. But now it's abundantly clear that they are inserting that into the character customization, for the basically creating characters. Because I guess coming up with your own characters is they need to be held by the hand and guided in the process. The book, it's not exactly a book, it's more like a novella. It's literally this short. It's literally this short.
It's like 60 pages.
Yeah. You could read it I'm probably being generous, not 30 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's if you're a fucking speed reader.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, it's got good artwork. I'll give it that. It's got great freaking artwork.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's magic to heal anything. Basically, they have a cleric in a wheelchair, and clerics use healing spells.
Yeah. So all right.
But I'll be going over that stuff tomorrow. So.
All right, so I am not going to be able to highlight chats while I'm doing timestamps, folks. I just want to let you know. Also, before we get started, I do not own the rights to this movie. I have purchased this movie digitally on YouTube and Vudu because apparently it didn't transfer over to YouTube when I got it on Vudu, which it was supposed to do. So I busted out some money to get it on here so we can watch it on here, or so we could show timestamps on here. And any clips will be muted. This does fall under fair use, so please don't be freaking assholes and strike my channel. Starring our names in this movie, big names: Corey Haim, Rip Corey Haim, Gary Busey, Megan Follows, Everett McGill, Terry O'Quinn. I have seen Megan Follows in maybe one or two different things. One of them was a CSI episode where she kidnapped a baby that her brother ended up cutting out of a woman that he killed.
I saw her in, was it a movie? Or I saw her in, I gotta look her up because I know I saw her in something else, and it was kind of like another horror-based.
Mm-hmm. She was the bartender in the movie I remember from Reservoir Dogs. Oh, nice. Yep, that's right. He was. He was in Reservoir Dogs.
I saw her. I didn't see her in a lot, but where was it? It was a movie when she was still relatively young. So it wasn't long after Silver Bullet.
I'll highlight that only because it was clever. But yeah, so the first fun fact, because it always goes to fun facts before we bring up the timestamper. The werewolf suit wasn't ready at the beginning of filming, and it took 3 months to finish. It used real bear hair and the head was operated by 6 people. So yeah, they started doing animatronic stuff back in the 80s.
It was the
Probably
Ray
a little-
Bradbury Theater. That's what I saw. And it's an episode of Ray Bradbury Theater. Which episode was it? The Dwarf. That's what I
Alrighty,
saw.
so-
Because I watch a station Comet sometimes, and they'll sometimes show these old TV series, and one was Ray Bradbury Theater. I remember she was on it one episode.
Alrighty, so the first attack, and I mean this movie starts and has the first attack like in the first minutes of this movie, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this movie does practical effects. You don't see CGI in this movie. This is an 80s movie. This is awesome shit. Plus, having practical effects is always better, or the better choice. So, one second. We have Arnie Westrom. Jesus, almost dropped my damn bottle here. All right, get back on here, you damn thing. Yeah, okay, good. And yes, there's John Wick. I never took him down. Because nobody takes down John Wick.
Nope.
Okay. You jumped up. Son of a... December, Dan. Yeah. Anyway. Here's the first time stamp where this guy was working on the tracks, Arnie Westrom, and he sees these two... I love how they end up with this skill. Two werewolf tracks, and he's like, oh, shit. I mean, yeah, there he is right there. And that's when the werewolf comes up and just swats his damn head off.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta say, that was a great kill. And when I was 4, I'm like, whoa. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, they don't bother with any slow buildup. And it's kind of true with the book, pretty much. It really was it was like really threw you into what was happening. So like in terms of that, it is true to the novella, and like the same with the movie, pretty much, where it's like, yeah, we're like we're not going to bother beating around the bush. Pretty much, it's a werewolf film, so we're going to show we're going to just jump right into like the first kill. Pretty much. And I love how it's the older sister is the one narrating it, because it could have easily been Corey Haim's character, because he's the focus primarily in the movie. But it's the sister narrating it and like going over like from the first kill on the events that transpire.
Yep. And Arnie Westrom actually was like the 3rd or 4th kill in the novella, because the kill took place in a winter cabin, and if I remember correctly. But yeah, so we have the first one, and she describes how they thought it was an accident and that he fell asleep on the tracks because he was a railroad cleaner. He cleaned the tracks up.
I think like in terms of characterization, he's supposed to be like habitually drunk or close to it.
Oh yeah.
So they kind of chalked it up that he was drunk and passed out on the tracks.
Yep. Now let me get over to 512. And this movie also takes place in 1975, so 10 years before or 8 years before the movie was filmed. It was filmed in 83 and released in 85. So now 512 to let y'all see the characters. Well, 513 because I can't get it. There's Corey Haim. He's in a wheelchair in this movie. He actually does it pretty well. I mean, that kid must have practiced for this role, or for being a cripple, which was very derogatory to say back then, folks.
Yeah, they're like, I can't remember the novella that much, but they never really say like, like if he was born paralyzed in a way, or if it was from an accident, and they never never really go into
the line. Sometimes I think your common sense got paralyzed along with your legs. I'm willing to bet this kid probably had an accident.
That's my impression, but they never really make it entirely clear.
Yeah.
So,
and this is and this is Brady because Jane was asked to check on her brother, and there was a garter snake, and they were using or playing around with it, and so he crawled up into the tree to scare her, and she tore her pantyhose, her leggings, and let's see if I can just. And there's Megan Follows. She was, I think, 15, actually 15 or 16 during the making of this movie. And she basically does not like her brother. Her first line about her brother. Marty's a booger. And she even referenced Marty was the cross I had to bear, her older self in this. So then when she walks off because, she is getting up and Brady throws the snake at her, so she ends up in the mud right there. And she ends up walking away, and I believe there's these two characters. Well, round to you too, Kat.
Yeah.
But,
sorry.
It's okay. Now let's see if I can get the right thing here. Nope.
Calvin. Oh, shut up.
Yeah, there we go. So we're then introduced, Jane is basically watching this woman and her boyfriend arguing because she's pregnant with his kid. And this actually comes to play later on in the film where she is heartbroken because, she needs help to support the kid, and he doesn't want to accept that he was a father. So, yeah, she decides to, let's just say, doesn't want to stick around for the kid. And this movie actually does a good job setting up the story and also setting up characters here and there. And it really does focus on Marty and his sister because they are the main focus of the movie, but also Uncle Red too, because he just does such a good job. Let's see if I can find the right shot here. And Marty, he was all for messing around with his sister, but when Brady took it too far, he even excoriated his friend Brady because, Brady did go too far. And let's see here. They actually do make up. He actually puts money on his dang sister's on her desk and's like, for a new pair of pantyhose, I want to make up. It was her idea. And so she also takes a shot at him while the parents are away. It's like, is Uncle Red still coming over? Mom said he's getting another divorce. Oh, and she said he was drunk. Yeah, that's a brilliant uncle for you, a chronic drunk. And apparently Marty is close with his uncle. So she knows that's the best way to get to him or to get his goat. I really do like the dynamic between these two characters because from a chemistry point of view, not a romantic chemistry, but a sibling chemistry, these two do it very well. What was your impression of that?
Well, it very much is. Since I'm an older sibling, I can relate to it's very much an older sibling, younger sibling dynamic. Because when you're the older sibling, most of the responsibility falls on you. And it's in terms of it doesn't matter if it doesn't really matter if the other sibling is old enough to know better. You should have been watching that sibling. You should have been paying attention to a situation. For example, when I was a lot younger, it's like me and my brother, and I remember I was watching The Sandlot. I was minding my own business, just watching The Sandlot, and the next thing I know, I hear my dad yelling, and then he starts yelling for me, to get over here, come out here, and I get there to find that my one brother decided he was going to trim his bangs but he did so in a way where it looked like this, like he was prematurely balding kindergartner, pretty much. And my dad's like, "Did you know about this?" And I'm like, "I didn't know. I was watching the scene. I was just minding my own business." But that's like what older siblings go through with like their younger siblings, because like we're supposed to like, have half an eye on these little boogers, as the older sister calls, as like she refers to him. And like, so I get that dynamic. I very much get that dynamic. And so sometimes we do say some like mean things to goad the other one, or if we're frustrated because like we're getting yelled at for something that they did. I can get that she would do that. Like she would like, press his buttons that way. And like that's very much like an older, younger sibling dynamic there.
And she even apologizes in this scene. He's like, "Is it true what you said about Uncle Red?" "Yes. I shouldn't have told you the way I did. It was mean."
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so they actually do make up. And it's a nice moment between them. And then we get, I mean, this movie also has great pacing because it just goes right into the next bit where, well, she has a bottle of pills and a glass of water. And she just starts going at it with the pills. Mm-hmm. So, and she even says, "Suicides go to hell, especially when they're pregnant, and I don't even care." Now, the picture that she's looking at here is her boyfriend. And while this is happening, well,
yeah, as soon as their
outside
mother playing piano, and like outside you see, this.
I mean, this thing is, or I'm going to play it just a tiny bit, if it will play. Come on, you son of a bitch. There, yeah. I mean, the suit wasn't ready at first, folks, so they could only do limited stuff with, like, showing you what they have going on. Or so, yeah. And he gets right up there. And you can see the shadow coming in. Now, another fun fact about this, the snarl that you hear in this scene is actually from another werewolf movie, The Howling. Apparently. Mm-hmm. That's what I got from my fun fact research.
This is what's actually very interesting. Is like it's like really no surprise that Hollywood recycles any type of sound, whether it's a score or anything, because I've watched stuff where studios have literally taken tracks from other movies as part of the score for another film, pretty much, or a TV series. I'm like, that sounds really familiar. Oh, yeah. You know it from that, first, and they just kind of borrowed it for whatever they were filming. And like this case here, borrowing the sound effect from The Howling. If it's good, it's like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Basically, just borrow it. That's what Hollywood does.
And this whole scene here happens in under 30 seconds. The kill, the tearing her up and whatnot. And the mom is getting a gun, and she gets up there.
Smart. She at least grabbed the gun and didn't just run up without anything.
Yeah. And she finds her daughter like this. And the actress who played the Ma played it very well, because it's like her scream plus dropping the gun and everything sells that she had that loss indeed.
Yeah.
I mean, this was also more of a graphic scene. It shows the werewolf actually clawing downward into her or on her back, and it does a repeat like this, like clawing it like that twice. Did a really good job with it. Let's see here. Andy, police trying to get help. Yeah, the police, or then we see after the second attack, or the first official attack, because Arnie Westrom was written off as a drunk accident. And so then we hear that the police are trying to get help, and Terrence O'Quinn is like, maybe you shouldn't have told that. Or he's like, well, how many do you think are going to... Yeah.
Yeah.
And his deputy is like, maybe you shouldn't have told that detective or up there to fuck off, Joe. Well, I waited till he hung up. Now, the detective is also from a great 80s or 80s show, In the Heat of the Night. Now, and then we get to the bar scene with Andy Ferriton getting the town riled up because he doesn't like the sheriff because the sheriff wrote him a
$200 fine.
Yeah, a $200 fine for a fender bender. And, well, he was also in the rears with his taxes, and people were starting shit with him. And let me, let's see here. 13.
I love how that guy is like, he's such an asshole, and it didn't matter that he witnessed people he knew. And we'll talk about this when that scene comes up. That people he knew get killed right in front of him. He's still an asshole.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously, he really is. And this is the bartender. And he started walking up, or Andy Ferriton is this guy right here. And he was walking up to this guy right here because he told him that he was in the rears. And then the peacemaker back comes out and he's like, you boys better turn down your thermostat so you can both get the hell out of here. Now, who's drinking? And it's a great scene. It shows you just what you need to know, that these guys are, or that this guy's not happy with the sheriff. And he also happens to own the gun shop. So we then see Marty's girlfriend and they're riding home from school, and they see that or they go by the house of the attack, and it's getting all boarded up. But let's see here, 16, 14, or 15 even. Where, let's see here. Yep, load up. She's talking to Marty about how she hears noises in this area here at night, like snarling animal noises. And her father is a drunken asshole, essentially. He's like, damn cripple.
Yeah, like at best he's a drunken asshole. At worst, like, I guess abusive. I'm not physically abusive, maybe emotionally abusive, but like he comes across as like that type of person.
Yeah, this guy here.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
when
we talk about who the werewolf is, it makes sense in a way that she would be hearing noises because it tells me the werewolf was watching him.
Yep. Because maybe, just maybe, he was abusive toward his kid.
Yeah.
Because it's not really totally explained, folks, but his motives are essentially he's killing those who are sinning.
Yeah.
Or who are going to commit a sin. So, Arnie Westrom.
With one exception. Well,
being Brady.
Well, Brady and the sheriff.
Yeah. Well, the sheriff, his only sin was not doing something about it, but then again, he found out who he was. So
yeah, I mean, like there was multiple times, like, and I guess the people that they were committing vigilantism, so technically it was a sin.
Yeah.
So.
And Marty, opportunity. Let's just say that there were times basically where he couldn't.
He was breaking the curfew, so technically,
yep, he was breaking the curfew. There you go.
Technically, he was breaking the curfew. So technically, he was in the wrong. Yep. I'm not saying that like he should have died. I'm just saying like a kind of a victim of opportunity / he is breaking the law. So in a way,
yeah.
So
and then Marty, he has a motorized wheelchair that he can or that he gets around on outside of school, and he makes it to the gas station. And this is a lovely scene because it sets up that these people know Marty. He's known around town, kind of like my stepbrother is, because he helps a lot around town and whatnot. And I like how he talks with him. He's like, "You want me to check the oil? Yeah, sure, go ahead." Or wipe the windshield, check the driver's bullshit level.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, it really is just nice stuff here and there. Also, another fun fact: Owen's Bar, where all the older people were hanging out, is named after Stephen King's son. So Owen King.
Okay.
It's just small facts here, folks.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention Harmony Hill, where Brady gets buried or interred, is also a reference to Salem's Lot, Harmony Hill Cemetery. This movie has a lot
I
of
didn't
different
catch that, but yeah.
callbacks.
Yeah, there is that
Yeah.
because of one of the victims in Salem's Lot. So.
Yep. So then 1758, we get Marty and Uncle Red, which is basically the introduction to Uncle Red. Now, if I just get to it, 58, so all I need to do is that. And I love the joke. He's like, guy walks into a bar, says, "Hey, jackass, pour me a drink." Bartender pours him a drink. He's like, "Hey, jackass, pour me another drink." Barkeep pours him a drink. And the guy goes up to him and he's like, "Why do you keep letting him call you jackass all the time?" He's like, "Oh, hee-haw, hee-haw. He always called me that." I mean, all these jokes are just so freaking funny, folks. I mean, or Gary Busey just has that gift to be funny, serious, an asshole. He has the most range that I've ever seen in an actor outside of theater actors like Christopher Lee. I mean, this dude, he's a comedic actor, but he also has the right chops to go serious like he did in Lethal Weapon.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, holding out his arm while a dude runs a freaking lighter right under his arm, like right here, and he's just like, uh-huh. And then we see his sister, or not his sister, but, well, Red's sister wants to take Marty upstairs to go to bed, and they even have the electronic wheelchair gig. Now, this scene does kind of remind me of my own past. I'm not going to get into too much specifics, but let's just say that there was a person in my family who did like to drink a lot, and he is very much reminiscent of that person who's no longer with us anymore, but yeah, God rest him. But it is a nice scene, and he gets into an argument with his sister, and he's like, "Always a pleasure coming to Sister Nan's." And then we get to the third attack.
I did appreciate that, that the argument he had with his sister, because you get the feeling where it's, yes, I get it from the perspective that she's like the mother, so she's going to want to really take care of her child, things like that. She's kind of like the not exactly a helicopter mom per se, but very much we have to be careful. We have to be careful because of his Artie's condition and things like that. And Red's it's there's when he says nothing wrong with him, meaning just let him be, pretty much. Just let him just let him be. Why are you stop treating him like this?
Yeah. And they're basically, it's like, sometimes I'm afraid he's just going to give him. He's not going to give up. Well, he doesn't need you telling him how to do it,
Yeah.
Because again, this dude's on his third divorce. So
yeah,
it's like, dude, how can you even afford to go through all those marriages and divorces? And so then we just jump right into the third attack, which is the father. He's watching wrestling, and he's hearing the noises out in his flower pot, or his flower shed. And he's, as you can clearly see here, already had quite a few already. 5 freaking bottles. Or he's working on his 4th. The 5th is unopened yet. But yeah, he's watching wrestling, Rebel Airplane, and then he is getting ready to go out. And back in the 80s, folks, customized shells with rock salt were a thing. They still are a thing in certain parts of the country. They are what's known as a non-lethal, however very painful, deterrent for people breaking in. So yeah, he's like, busting out here all drunk. Now, this scene had a very bad edit cut where he's let's see here. Yeah, right here. He's looking around, he's like, "Oh, shit." Let's see, and then cuts to that. And I'm thinking to myself, it's very well lit up in that moment, but then it's this moment where he's stalking around and you see the werewolf is underneath him.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
somebody has a nice singing voice.
Yes. Sorry about that.
It's okay. It's okay.
Like it might be like you know, there might have been like a bad editing cut because
Yeah.
like you know, it's maybe I could like only assume that a light was knocked out, which was like why I would like explain why it goes dark all of a sudden.
Yeah. So. And so he's has his thing out. You get the sight from underneath, and dude's frightened by a freaking spider, which was funny. And more underneath shot.
I generally had that reaction too, and like at least initially.
Oh yeah, I mean, if anybody, let me get on screen here. If anybody has ever like been on a laptop in their bed and suddenly, I mean, in a dark room or your bedroom, dark and whatnot, suddenly a freaking spider just comes down right in front of your face. I don't care how tough you think you are, your ass is going to be screaming like a bitch.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's like, I mean, I broke a laptop because I freaking jumped to high hell. Everybody thought it's like, what the hell's wrong with you? It's like, fucking Spider-Man.
I just say nothing that small should have that many legs. Nothing that small should have that many legs. That's just nope.
Yeah.
What do you need 8 legs for?
Yep. And let's see here. Yeah, Predator 2 was another good role of Gary Busey's. Guess who's back?
And he actually did research on the Predator lore before taking the role. So he knew what he was talking about.
Yep. And so let's see here. 24:55. What number am I up to here? 24. Oh yeah, he right here is where he has a single shot shell or rifle, shotgun rifle, and well, he just wasted the shot. And that's when everything starts shaking up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when, well, I'm only showing it a little here. Werewolf pops up, pulls him down, and ends up getting him there. So let's get out of there quickly. And we get the second shot where the townspeople are kind of worried. They're all like, ain't that something, you know? And it says Maniac strikes again. And we also see that there's a curfew where people are running scared, getting in the house. Shotguns are going on sale. And there's mutton chops there. Andy Ferriton. Mom taking her kid in. Woman rushing into her house. I mean, it shows you that this town is on edge. And then we see Marty's up in a tree.
2 definite murders in as many days, pretty much. So, yeah.
Well, actually, no. These are all happening a month apart.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, so
the attacks are happening a month apart.
Yeah.
Because full moon out and whatnot. The only time it doesn't happen is, or the only time a full moon kill doesn't happen is the chief. Because we then learn that he can change at will. He just doesn't want to unless he absolutely has to. So let's see here. 27:20. We get Brady's last day. Because Brady or Marty takes a look back at Brady in this scene. Like he knows that he's not going to see his friend again. And they're flying kites. Brady's he's like, "Hey Brady, are you coming?" And this is his last look on Brady, seeing his buddy here. So 27, well, yeah, 20 is, He's looking, and then he rides off in his silver bullet, which is the name of the show or the movie. Fun fact number 4. Stephen King wanted the werewolf to appear plain and difficult to see due to other werewolf movies, how they portrayed their monsters. Dino De Laurentiis was displeased and wanted the wolf to be changed. After both King and the werewolf creator Rambaldi refused, the original performer also was cut because he didn't please Dino De Laurentiis. So Everett McGill, who plays Reverend Lowe, also took up the suit and played both man and beast. So yeah, he's in the suit as well, Everett McGill.
So he's an underrated actor.
Yep. Not to mention we get to this scene after the last scene, and well, Ferreton's had a little one too many, and he's just sick and tired of Joe Howler, the chief, not getting shit, and well, his deputy's defending his boss's honor essentially, and they're getting ready to fight.
Mm-hmm.
And well, that's when Brady's pop comes in, and he's like, "Has anybody seen my son, Brady?" And well, he is carrying a bloodied kite, which was Brady's kite, and he's saying a Hail Mary because of that. Now let's see here. Yep. And so, yeah, Brady has been covered by a cloth. And if you look here, folks, there's not a lot covering or being covered.
No.
It is, as it was said, he was torn to pieces. And I love how the reaction is of his son, because they don't he doesn't want him going up there. And he sees it and he just starts screaming. I mean, they do the acting very well in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So then we get Brady's funeral, and Marty is talking with his Uncle Red because Uncle Red's taking him home. And he's like, well, what if it was some kind of monster instead of a man? Well, yeah, what if it was some kind of monster? Like a werewolf or something. And it's like, the kids hit the nail right on the head, but nobody's going to believe something like that.
No.
And he even drops the study of the time. Psychotics are more active when the moon is full, and this guy's psycho. When they catch him, you'll find out he's no more different than you or me. Hey, fuck Norris, good to see you. Always a pleasure. And got to give him credit for watching NWA. Trey.
That's what he's watching.
Yep, and 3021, so we can actually see the face of evil in this one. Reverend Lowe. I mean, you just look at the man and you could tell he's a freaking werewolf. I mean, my brother, or my oldest brother, when we were all watching this one, I was 4, he was like 6 or 7, or 7 or 8. And he's like, yeah, that's a werewolf. I'm like, how do you know? Just look at him. I mean,
he kind of does give off that vibe, but at the same time, I said, I think Everett McGill is a very underrated actor.
Oh, very much.
Did you watch this the performance in here? Then he was in 1984's Dune.
Yep.
Playing just a completely different character, and again playing a completely different character in Heartbreak Ridge. So it's like the same actor, different characters. Like, you want to talk range, he was able to do it, but he never really achieved A-list status. But he was I think better than most A-listers.
Yeah. So we get to the next fun fact. Marty setting off fireworks, which it's later in the film, at the bridge, was filmed twice due to inconsistency. The wide shots didn't match the close-ups. So 4 months after the first portions were filmed, they returned and went to great length to make sure the setting matched the autumn look.
Yeah.
Because this movie was filmed from October to December. This film was shot for 2 months. or 2.5 months. So then we get to the mob because, well, we get the angry mob are pissed off. Joe Haller hasn't done shit. So let's see here.
I mean, to be fair to the sheriff, you basically have to send out the evidence to crime labs, and those can take a long time. Plus, it's like you don't have many clues to work off of. So it's like not much he could have done in that scenario until like whatever evidence was collected comes back. But he's not moving fast enough to lose people's liking. So.
Yep, and so they're all basically getting ready, and well, the sheriff has come in here, and he's like, "You all to go home. I don't remember deputizing a single one of you." And Andy Ferriton can't help it. He's like, "The only one you deputized is that fat shit bag beside you." It's like, "Oh damn, dude, seriously, you just can't help yourself."
No, I'm saying he's an asshole here. He witnesses people getting killed in front of him, and he's an asshole still later, essentially. And he doesn't change. Like he's an asshole through and through.
Yeah. And we also see that the Reverend is not happy about this because Brady's father comes in when he's like, "Shut up, Andy. No, you don't tell me to shut up." "Yes, shut up."
Yeah.
I mean, this scene where he actually, let's see here. Perfect placement is right here where he's like grief-stricken, upset. You don't know what those words mean. And this was also after the deputy gave a whole spiel on private justice, which is basically lynch mobs and hang ropes. Say that in a movie nowadays, oh my God, the backlash would kill you. The NAACP would have a fit.
Well, he's not
but
wrong.
Essentially,
that's what a mob does.
Yeah.
Or
so he's like,
can do. So.
Yeah. So he's like, as for me, I'm going to go out and I'm going to hunt me down some private justice.
Yes.
And we then see Reverend Lowe. He's like, "Guys, don't do this. This is a bad idea." Because he knows this is a full moon, and he can't, or it's the next full moon, and he's telling people, "Please don't do this," and they're just ignoring him. And even the sheriff tells him, he's like, "Oh, let it go, Reverend. This is that community spirit you've been talking about. It's great, ain't it?" And it's like, dude, you literally, that alone should get you fired from your job. That's called dereliction of duty. These people are planning to break the law. You know what? That is a fireable offense in the law. That's also a crime because you are therefore committing a crime because you are now aiding and abetting. But we're not going to get into all the nuances of law. Now, let's see here. The slaughter in the fog is what I call this. I mean, folks, it is a great scene. Everybody, or you get all these scenes where they're just walking and one guy steps on a bear trap with some teeth in it too. Finer teeth, not the big teeth ones, but smaller teeth that is basically meant to take out troublesome coyotes and shit. And he's like, "Oh, I got it. Hey, something's over here, huh?" And he lets the thing close back on the dudes. It's like, ah! And it's just so great. Yeah.
And in a way that, I mean, he would have had to been like taken to go get that looked at. So in a way that bear trap saved him.
Oh yeah. Life saved on a event of your stepping on a bear trap. Exactly. So 40-40. Let's see here. Uh, 42 will do. And basically everybody here is hearing this creature under the fog. And it's like, where's that coming from? Over there? It's under the fog.
Yeah.
And they're realizing, oh shit, because they're hearing this thing and it doesn't sound like anything. Doesn't sound like a man, does it? And it's like, let's start backing up, dude. Real freaking slow. Yeah. And I love, it's under the fog. What are you saying? It's right here with us. And everybody's just, this is when it starts happening. And he's like, what the fuck? And he's so scared he can't move. He's essentially pissing his pants. I'm going to play it just a little bit here. Probably going to get claimed, but I don't care. Yeah, start backing up, Andy. Yeah. Real slow. Boom. Well, yeah, right there. And I love what happens next. This is the best part here. Dude's gun goes off and he's like, holy shit. I'm out. He's like, yep, I'm out. And yeah, not the best, but it still works. And that guy's like, nope, I'm out. And so Mr. Peacemaker here with his bat starts running, and everybody starts running, and Peacemaker dude starts beating on the werewolf as it tackles him, and he gets a couple of good licks in, except now it has,
I love that it changes hands and like the werewolf now has the bat.
Yeah, and it just starts beating him to death. So it's like, oh shit, dude. So then before we get to the next scene, which is freaking hilarious, in a way, but also very scary for kids. The scene where the werewolf bursts through the wall at the end of the movie during the climax wasn't rehearsed and only took one take. Selling the reactions, Busey also did his own stunts and got his arm cut from the fake mirror glass. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, you also got to love Gary Busey's reaction, and I'm going to freaking show that too. I don't care if this gets claimed or not. I'm not monetized all the way.
That was just in one take, and that's Everett McGill, both as the Reverend and the werewolf, doing it in one take.
Yep. Bursting through the freaking wall. It's great. So 44:29. Yeah, he's having a dream where he's covering the all of the people who died, and then Brady's father is just like going nuts a little bit. He's like, there is no such cover. There's only private justice. And then he's like, the Bible says that we shouldn't fear. He's like, Reverend, he was torn apart. And they all everybody in the crowd starts turning into werewolves. And it's like, holy shit, dude. I mean, the whole scene is freaking well done.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here if I can get it. But yeah, all of them are there. I'm going to have to go a lot of period pushing here because even his accordion or organist is a werewolf chick. Everybody is just having so much fun. But the reason why I want to show this shot right here, all the werewolves, including a freaking baby werewolf. Can you believe that? A freaking baby werewolf, dude. And they're sure hell, it's all the people are going after Reverend Lowe. Yeah. I mean, what did you notice that when you saw this?
Not really, but then like the scene itself is just like surreal.
Yeah.
Like you realize it's a dream, but at the same time, it's like
because even the bodies for the caskets are coming out too.
Yeah.
And then it's like, ah! And he says, "Let it end, dear God, let it end." Mm-hmm. So or if this isn't the confirmation, like outright confirmation that this man is the werewolf, what is?
Yeah.
So another fun fact, Harker's Mills is fictional, but it borders Castle Rock, Chester's Mills, and Derry, all from Stephen King's novels. All has connections to Pet Cemetery, or also has connections to Pet Cemetery and Cujo. Interesting. So the empty town. Let's see here.
Yeah, because the fireworks.
45. No, because they canceled the
Their celebration is
fireworks.
canceled. Yeah.
Yep. 45. Oh, 45, 30, 43 is just as good as Ford. But yeah, or the town is empty, folks. This town, its economy has tanked. People are getting the hell out of here because, well, there's a maniac on the loose and nobody wants to stick around. I mean, would you, Mara?
Mm-hmm. So,
well, and so no. Then, yeah. So then we have
very much a similar
Marty
scenario
is working with Uncle Red. So. Yeah.
So.
And Marty is working with Uncle Red. There we go. 4730. And he reveals the new silver bullet. Folks, I want one. I want one. Who wouldn't want one? I mean, this thing can go like 40
I don't even need a wheelchair, but I want something like that to get around.
Same. I mean, every kid wanted one of these growing up if they'd seen this movie.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I love it. He's like, so let me see if I got this straight. The man drove your best girl out of town and killed your best friend. Am I right so far? Yeah, you're right, Uncle Red. Well, I just got something, happen to have something in here that's going to turn your friend upside down. Yeah, I'd say it did, man, because he does a test drive and drives his and he's like,
gives his uncle a heart attack like, because he basically like uncle's like, take it easy, and the kid just like,
oh, the kid's dead meat. Oh, the kid's dead meat. The kid's dead meat. Yeah. And he's like, you're looking at a diamond, but you better watch it because if your mother finds out how fast it is, I'm going to be singing soprano in the Vienna Boys Choir. You know, I don't get you. He's like, I don't get you. I know you don't.
Kind of like, I know you don't, but you will someday.
Mm-hmm. And so, another fun fact, Corey Haim became friends with Gary Busey's son, Jake Busey. And due to this friendship, Jake Busey expressed interest in acting. So it's actually because of Corey Haim that Jake Busey became an actor.
Mm-hmm. Which
is nice.
The first thing I saw Jake Busey in was The Frighteners.
Yep.
And the next thing I saw him in was Starship Troopers.
Yep. That was the first movie I saw him in, Starship Troopers.
Mm-hmm.
5424. Let's see here, because they're all having a nice little meal together. But I do want to get to, let's see here. Come on, load. Yep. And his uncle gives him a rocket, and also he's like, you're going to have 4th of July, but you're going to have it in September. And save this one for last. It's a rocket. And he says, wait till your parents go to sleep and hide these in the bushes and take it out. And so when he goes out to the bridge, well, yeah, the werewolf's out there, as you can clearly see reflected in the light or in the pond right here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, damn, kid. This was the most frightening scene to me, folks, when I was 4 years old. I didn't get too scared from this movie, but this scene scared the shit out of me. I'm telling you, because the suspense, and then when it starts coming for him, and it's like, oh, shit, you know? Yeah. And then when this kid goes home, curls up to the corner in his room, but I also got, let's see here, 55 minutes even. Because this thing, or it takes a while. It works up to going after him. It stops every now and then because the kid's aware. The kid is aware or hears some stuff and whatnot. So, let's see here. 55. Yep, the thing's watching him, as you can see clearly here. Those eyes are just creepy, don't you think?
Yeah. I like how, like, granted, like, I know the werewolf costume wasn't ready for the most part, at least like when they began filming at the same time. It's like, I'd rather not see how
too
the
much of
werewolf
it. Yeah.
works. Like just like little snippets is enough, just like to develop the level of apprehension throughout the movie.
Yep.
And eyes is like one key thing, showing the eyes.
Yep. And
The only thing
then
I
the
would have
kid
wished
actually
for,
sets off.
the only thing I would have wished for, and I know like this is like basically like special effects wise, and if they were unable to do this, would have been to have more like dog-like eyes. When I say that,
Yeah.
I mean like in terms of like coloring
Yep.
a little bit, because like they're supposed to be able to see in the dark.
Oh
And
yeah.
like that's like the only. It's just a slight nitpick in terms of the look, but otherwise, it's just the light on it, and just seeing the eyes is creepy enough.
Yep. And then we get the rocket head home shot right here. And I am going to play this a little bit, folks, because you know what? It's going to get claimed anyway. And yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this kid is like totally terrified. I'm going to pause it a little bit. And, well, that's actually a good shot. I mean, this freaking werewolf is freaking the fuck out right now. And we get this great shot here. I love this shot here. It's like, oh, he just rips his damn eye out. But yeah, this kid goes home, curls up into the freaking corner of his bed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would do the same thing. I would be fucking terrified at this point. It's like, oh my God, man, I saw the werewolf. And he calls Uncle Red, and Uncle Red's like, there's no such thing as werewolves. Have a poor on your poor uncle, would you? And so his new girlfriend asks him, who was that? Obscene phone call.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, seriously. But so he tells his sister the next day because he's like, oh my God, dude. I mean, this kid is terrified at this point, and he sells it freaking well. He does it very good.
I think at this point, the sister doesn't believe him necessarily, but she believes he believes. So she's willing to humor him in a sense and check people's eyes as she's collecting cans.
Yep. Because, yeah, she goes to meet with him, and he is just, like, totally freaking scared. So he tells her. So while she's going out with the one-eyed search for the MedQ drive, 5858, or she's asking people, do you got any bottles? And I like how they actually zoom in on eyes, or they do the focus on eyes in this, which is very well done. Because it's showing these people are definitely not the werewolf.
Yeah.
You know? And then she even sees Mr. Ferreton at the barber. He's getting a hot towel. And at the end, when she covers him back up and leaves, you actually hear him be like, he's like, Jesus.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying, like, it's like he's just witnessed multiple people get slaughtered in front of him, and he's still acts like an asshole.
Yeah. Right?
I'm not saying he should have had a complete change of heart, but at the same time, I'm like, could you maybe tone that down a little bit, because you just witnessed like 3 people get killed right in front of you. Well, like at least 2 people get killed right in front of him, and then the third one was like after he left, pretty much. But like people he knew get slaughtered.
Yeah. And then she brings in her bottles and cans, and well, turns out that there is a one-eyed person in town.
Yeah, if you didn't pick up on the dream sequence
from the dream, yeah.
Here it is.
I mean, this is basically your absolute confirmation. Well, Jane, younger brothers tend to do that.
I know. I like.
Because she's like, he just makes me so mad sometimes.
I know.
It's like, yeah, I can relate, kid. And I'm gonna tear your brother limb from limb. Not that he's gonna need his legs. Oh shit! Did I go there? But yeah, let's see here. So she goes in. She's returning her bottles and cans, and she falls over and finds the Peacemaker bat in the shed. So it's 102.37. give you all the visual representation here. There we go. But yeah, she finds the bat and it's all torn up as and then she realizes, oh crap, she sees the Reverend and she is absolutely terrified.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she sells this so freaking well. Well, yeah. Why, Jane, you're trembling. I don't feel well. Think I had too much sun. Oh, why don't you lay down in the parlor? No! Nope. I mean, it's like, yeah. you give it away any more than that. The way that she forcefully says no in this scene, that would be a total giveaway.
It would be a total giveaway. It's why I was like, if I had been in that situation, if I said it like that, I would have been if I'd been like, no, thank you.
Nope.
Thank you.
Yeah.
A bit calmer. But to answer kind of Soul Assassin's question, I don't know if people exactly got mad that the priest was the monster in this movie. I don't remember reading anything about that. But from my experience reading Stephen King novels, he seems to have a thing where he loves to portray people like those of the faith, particularly those the cloth, as
evil.
Or either evil sinful. Or just pieces of shit. Mm-hmm. Pretty much. He really does not write them in terms of actual positive characteristics. So I don't know if Stephen King himself just has a thing against.
He is very much anti-religious.
Yeah, he's very much that. So it's which is
just look at his tweets.
A problem I had with his books because of he was you could tell the extreme bias he had in some cases against the religion. But in this case, I'm fine with it because it's a curse. So it doesn't so it's it didn't matter to me that it was the priest that was a werewolf. So
and also, folks, this is me. I mean, if you have been following me on Twitter, pretty much almost every time this dude complains on Twitter, I would always be like, says the man who wrote child porn.
Yeah, he for it. Yeah, he did.
I read that book, folks, and when I got to that point, I burned that book. I paid the library. It's I got rid of that book. And they're like, why? It should not be ever read. And I explained to them, it's I will pay for the book. I will gladly pay for the book. There's child porn in that book. And they're like, well, that's how you see it. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm never going to this library again. They actually defended it. It's well, you got to understand. It's no. There's no understanding this thing, man. That book should not be anywhere near an area where kids congregate. Well, they don't congregate anymore unless they're looking at drag queen. But anyway, I'm getting off topic. I unload on this dude on Twitter an awful lot. Let's just say that.
Well, he's an idiot.
But very much. So, let's see here. 102. In the shed. Uncle Red. So, yeah, they start writing little love notes to because she realizes that Marty's not crazy. So, they start, she's getting the hell out of there. It's get my breast together, Jane. Oh, I will. It's geez, what'd you do then? Ran home as fast as I could. And so this kid starts doing this.
Yeah.
I mean, he's 11 years old. He's 11 years old.
Yeah, I'll excuse this because he's 11 years old and he's not exactly thinking intelligently. But this is something I never understood people to do. And it's almost become a trope in movies where it's someone knows that someone else has killed a person or multiple people, pretty much. They figured out who done it, and they decide rather than taking that information to law enforcement, they decide, hey, I'm going to blackmail the person pretty much, and then act surprised when that person who's already killed before and has no problem doing so, kill them to get rid of the blackmailing problem.
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
It's
why do they do that? If they've
I mean,
killed before,
hypothetical
they
here,
have
folks.
no problem killing again.
Yeah, it's like hypothetical here, folks. Say I'm a serial killer at hypothetical YouTube, hypothetical. Say I'm a serial killer and I'm getting blackmailed by this, I don't know, fucking 11-year-old cripple. And he's basically saying, well, why don't you just kill yourself? I know who you are. I know what you are. I'm going to go to the police. Oh, okay. Snap. Yeah, I've killed people. You think that I have no problem
going to the police.
Just
Trey, I get them not going to the police because like they're not going to believe a story about the werewolf, but like doing this, like this guy's already pissed off enough at you because you took out his eye.
I know who you are. I know what you
and,
are.
Like you're
Why don't you
further
just kill
poking
yourself?
the bear at this point.
Well, poking the wolf, but yeah.
Well, I'm saying like you were literally like just like making it worse than it already is.
Yeah, I mean, and I love his reaction to it. I mean, he just crumples it up, crushes it, and he's like, then we told Uncle Red what we were up to. And it's like, oh dear God. And we get the best line in the entire movie. Let's see here. 10. Oh crap. Oh, yep. 105.24 or 23 is just as good. Oh, it jumped ball-headed Jesus Palomino.
Yeah.
You know what? His reaction was less than serene. And let's just give it a small little. I love the reaction. I got to play it. Holy jumped up ball-headed Jesus Palomino. Uncle Red. From him, I'd expect this from. Sometimes I feel like your common sense got paralyzed along with your legs. That's cruel, dude. It's like, but you, Janie, you're Miss Polly Practical. It's great lines, man. Mm-hmm. It is so freaking great lines. And he's like, did you talk to the sheriff? Yeah. Or no, wait, that's later on. But he's like, what I understand is that my niece and my nephew have been writing local love letters to the local minister, suggesting he gargle with poisoned glass or eat a rat poison omelet.
Yeah, I know.
I'm willing to bet a lot of these lines were improv. Willing to bet that, folks. Because it's like, I mean, and so she's like, well, what about the bat that Jane saw? What about it? You know who used to have a bat like that? Mr. Knopfler. It's like Bigfoot used it as a toothpick. I think he had a hallucination. Probably just a broomstick or something. And then he's like, the next best line. Oh, I have no problem showing it to you right now. No. I'm a little too old to be playing Hardy Boys means Reverend Werewolf.
I know. I love that line.
And folks, I've read some of the Hardy Boys novels. Great stuff. Good stuff, man. Before Scooby-Doo. Well, no, wait. During Scooby-Doo, I do believe. Plus also the Boxcar Kids. Great.
I read Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew.
Yep.
Boxcar Kids, I believe.
Yep. They were also good ones. I mean, so then he takes him out to see the Reverend painting a thermometer. He's like, do you see your suspect, Marty? Yeah, I see him. And it's like, wow. So he's like, well, are you telling me that a guy who took a rock in the eye 2 nights ago is out here painting a thermometer? He'd be in a hospital or he'd be dead.
Well, and I shot when he was a werewolf, so they can heal
a
little bit.
Yeah. And then Janie comes to Marty's defense. It's like, I believe in Marty, and you used to believe him too, Uncle Red. And also there was something that was off about the garage that day. It smelled like an animal's den. And so he's like, oh, Jesus. So then we get to 10734. Well, all right. Marty is out there watching the kids play, and this is a nice little scene here because it shows that Marty does either miss or wish that he could, or that he ever had the use of his legs, because he's watching the kids play ball and whatnot, and I like how they focus on the legs. And then let's see here. Yeah, Reverend Lowe is going to make his attempt on Marty. Now, what number am I on? 108. Alrighty, so 109. So yeah, he tries running him off the road, and he chases him into this abandoned bridge. And he's basically telling Marty the whole shtick. He's like, I would never willingly hurt a child. And you should have left me alone. It's like, you should have left me alone, Marty. And he also maintains his faith, too. But he's like, Stella was going to commit suicide. And if she had, she'd be burning in hell right now. But by killing her, I took her physical life, but I saved her life eternal. It's like, dude, you have the definitely have the villainy down, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. 1:12. So yeah, I mean, and he's like, you see, you meddling little shit. I couldn't help but laugh when I heard him say it like that. You meddling little shit. Because he's actually getting ready to kill Marty at this point.
Because he's gone full villain at this point because he's lost his eye. He's been taunted by this kid and his sister, like told to basically kill himself, which is a sin. So take all that and the fact that he's really not mentally normal all there right now, like especially because he's like cursed with lycanthropy as a werewolf. Like he's pretty much like he's like now at his breaking. He's like fully past his breaking point, and he's like he's ready to kill. He's ready to kill the kid right here.
And and so Mr. Cinnamon rescues him because he's driving by with his tractor, and because he's like, you're going to have an accident, Marty. You're going to fall in the river. Yeah, how is he going to fall in the river? That thing looks pretty secure, that wheelchair. But we then see that, let's see here, 114. It's hard to get to the main points, but they talk with Uncle Red, and he's like, it's easier to take on without the foaming mouth and the jaws and the claws and the teeth. So then he's like, did you go to the sheriff? Yeah, after Marty's thrilling tale of wonder, but he's had no complaints about poison pen pals, which is the term for somebody who is doing that sort of stuff. And so he's inspecting the thing here, and he's like, Jane, what color is Lowe's car? Blue. And then she goes Hardy Boys. It's like, this blue.
Yes.
And I'm like, good moment. Good job. Right on. You identified it. Would have worked on the delivery a little bit better. So then he goes to the sheriff, and the sheriff's like, that is the craziest goddamn story I've ever heard. I know. Do you believe any of this? You do, don't you? Well, let's just say I believe that Reverend Lowe ought to be checked out.
Well, I mean, yes.
Well, that could be
at this point. He should be at least checked out because, that paint color would match his car.
Yeah.
So at the very least, he should be looked at for that incident. Now, what I never understood is why the sheriff goes there at night. Forgetting the whole werewolf angle, pretty much. I'm figuring he doesn't believe it, so he's like, still, why go at night? I just like there's one thing about this movie I've never understood is why he went at night. I understand maybe he wasn't able to go during the day, but then go the next day during the day to talk to him. It's not like the Reverend's going anywhere at this point. It's just like it's not like
yeah. And so he's like, well, this is the first lead we've had. Now, light up here, folks, is the moon. And it's not a full moon or this night. So we then learn in this scene that, well, yeah, he can change without the moon. And he's checking it out. Let's see if I can get to the right
part of werewolf lore that I remember reading is like
everybody was smoking back in the 80s.
Legends that's it can happen over 3 nights. I think I like mentioned during the Dog Soldiers stream where it's like
as the moon waxes and wanes.
Yeah, the moon waxes and wanes, so it could happen over 3 nights.
Yep. And so, yeah, he's like, okay, I got the evidence that this man has indeed tried to kill a kid.
Yeah.
And he's about ready to get the heck out, except, well, yeah, Reverend called.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I think you better come with me, Reverend. Except that, well, let's play it from here because honestly, I'm sick and tired of trying to dump it all around. And he's like, I think you better come with me, Reverend. And the Reverend's like, really? Really, boy? And so, well, actually, all right, but it's not my fault. And you can actually see right here, he's already got the teeth in for it. He's already starting to transform. With you can see his teeth are already growing on his bottom jaw here. So yeah, he's already transforming. And he also has the bat. So boom. And it's like, I'm like, dude, I'm not sticking around to watch this. As soon as that happened, I'm running. You know? I'm getting in my car. I'm freaking driving off, and I'm calling in my deputy to try to fix shit. But no, this dude just stands here, starts screaming as the werewolf is transforming in front of him, smacks him on the head with the baseball bat, and then starts finishing his transformation. And they do a good job with this too. I mean, like right here, and then we see bam, bam, bam.
Yeah.
And it's lights out for the sheriff. And so, yeah, they are discussing how it's like, Marty, the moon wasn't even full. In the made-up stories, he could only change when the moon is full. But maybe he's like this all the time. But as the moon gets fuller, the guy gets wolfier. Great line. And so it's like, well, what do you want me to do about it? I want you to turn this into a silver bullet, his medallion and her crucifix.
Because no matter what lore you read, what kills a werewolf? Silver.
Mm-hmm. And let's see here. 18. What are we at? 120. So, fun fact. Shooting started in October of 1983 and finished just before Christmas of that year. So basically 2.5 months. And it took 3 months. So they were in pre-production the thing wasn't ready. They were still working on it and it wasn't ready. So then they had to wait and do all the wolf scenes at the end of shooting. 120. So they're talking, and I love how he's like, I think he's going to come after me. Not because I heard him, or not because I know what he is, but because I heard him. And I think he's going to wait for the moon to be all the way full, and there's no Reverend Lowe at all, just only the monster. And so we get the next best, or this is one of the best scenes, folks. The crafting of the silver bullets here. Which, let me see if I can get it here. they go to this older gentleman, and he's like, he's like, you've gone right out of your mind. So I love the line that he sells this dude. He's like, my nephew has just discovered the Lone Ranger, and I was hoping you could help me out here. So you want a silver bullet, huh? Huh?
Yeah.
it's like, huh? Huh? I love that. He's like, so you want a silver bullet, huh? Huh? And so 122:36. Yes. Got it. Perfect. We see the crafting of the bullet, and they show the whole thing of how the bullet or how the silver is melted down and poured into the mold and then loaded in here.
Mm-hmm.
And the bringing down, it's like, and we've read all the legends on werewolves that we could, and even though some of them diverted, they all agreed on one. It takes silver to kill a werewolf, and we were taking no chances. And so he's like, best work I got or I've ever done, I think. It's got a low grain load, so it won't tumble.
And like, I love how Uncle Red is trying to pass it off. Like, oh, like we're not planning on firing. And it's like, what could we possibly want to use this on?
Yeah.
Even the guy's like,
well, shoot, that's
how
just
about a werewolf?
Yeah. He's like, what are you going to shoot a 44 bullet at anyway, made out of silver? How about a werewolf? And I'm like, okay, dude, what the fuck do you know? I mean, I'm like, what do you know? Tell me everything now. Because it's like this dude believes in werewolves, apparently.
Or at least he's like seeing through Uncle Red's bullshit about the Lone Ranger.
Yeah, right. So tricking the parents, 124:38. Yeah, you got to get the parents out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, it's just my luck that I went a romantic trip for two just after Sheila leaves me. And apparently it's Publishers Clearinghouse. Nan, his sister, is going to be so pissed when she gets home and realizes, yeah, did you really win a trip for two from Publishers Clearinghouse? No. But your parents are gone, and the moon is full, and I do have a subscription to Popular Mechanics.
I like how he just throws that line in, it's like so basically he
bullshitted
the whole weekend, sets up the whole weekend to get the parents out of the house.
Yep. And I'm wondering, what does Red do? Because it does seem he does have a lot of money. I mean, marriage, divorces, all of this shit. So it's like
mechanically knowledgeable, so I'm guessing at least something along those lines, because he's like,
yeah,
he, for all we know, he built from scratch the silver bullet.
Yeah.
So we can at least deduce where he could likely have a career.
Yeah. And then we get the final scene where this really ages the freaking movie, folks. Let's see here. 126. They're at night, or it's like 3 a.m. almost, and the TV is doing the Star Spangled Banner and then cuts off all signal. Back in the 70s and 80s, that was a thing.
Poltergeist even showed that. So
yep.
I believe.
Because I even remember staying up late at night when I was a kid, or when I was like 2 or 3, I was watching TV, and then they cut the signal, and it's like, what? And they're like, gotta go to bed.
Yep.
And well, then I would also stay up late at night to watch Cinemax on the weird, crappy screen. Hey, if you were a kid and you were a boy, you probably did the same, because that's when you saw all the naughtiness on the screen. But yeah, let's see here, 120, or no, wait, wrong one. 126:58, or no, wait, yeah, right here.
Yeah, fucking Norris' dad's comment is funny too, where it's like this familiar feeling is coming over me. Beginning to
this
feel like a horse's
very
ass.
familiar feeling is starting to come over me. What's that? I'm beginning to feel like a horse's ass. That's what. Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah. She sees the werewolf because Marty doesn't want to go to bed. And the werewolf is stalking the house outside. And is like, well, it's damn near down and it's just stalking the house. He's like, but you're going to bed and so are you. Well, what if I say no? Then I'm going to kick your ass. And then she looks over here and sees, well, this.
Yeah.
And this all happens in like half a second. So it's like, whoa. And he's screaming too. He's like, whoa, hey, ho. I mean, tensions are high. Yeah, he's screaming too. And it's like, it's the werewolf. So he goes to check. Nothing out there. What'd you see? I was looking at you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I love this. He's like, a very familiar feeling is beginning to come over me. And he's like, what? I'm beginning to feel like a horse's ass. That's what. And he pulls the bullet out.
Yeah.
I mean, safety, folks. I'm beginning to feel like a horse's ass. That's what. And she's very adamant. And, well, yeah, the werewolf cuts the power by pulling the cord outside. And so, don't panic. He's here.
He's probably just a fuse. Conveniently after... he's trying to make sense of the situation, but conveniently after she says she sees a werewolf,
yeah,
and the power goes out. So man, too much of a coincidence at that point.
Yeah, and then we get this scene right here, and this is Gary starting to get kind of worried, and then some noise over there.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Now, let's see here. While they're all focusing here, boom. Let's drop back just a little bit. I mean, his reaction again is genuine. This is his full-on reaction. Oh. And we get the full shot with the werewolf. And I just love that with Gary Busey. It's like,
No.
And then we see it's like, dude, you don't even got the freaking cylinder back in yet. And the werewolf's like, oh, shut up. And the bullet falls down a thing here.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, watch out. This is Gary Busey doing his own stunt, folks. So crash, bang, boom. She's kind of catatonic because, well, she can't believe what she's seeing. And I love how they focus in on the eyes too. So the werewolf's like, no. And it's like, okay, whose arms are that? And how are they lifting her so well? Also, I like how they do cover or focus with a red light over the werewolf's eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Because they also did that in the attack on Marty when he first sees the werewolf. So let's see if I can get it nice and focused here. Yeah, a little bit of red, but they also focus on the damaged eye too. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you little bastard, and yana, swing, swing, swing. And basically, Uncle Red is doing his best, and this is where he actually cut his arm. As you can see that blood right there. So he gets up, tries smacking it smacks it with a poker, tries again, and the werewolf's like, no more. Tosses him around. And
you hear some cries of pain from the werewolf when he connects with the poker.
Because it almost sounds like a Godzilla screech.
Yeah.
Almost. Speaking of which, we'll get to that after. But so then Marty manages to get the thing out, get the gun loaded, and pops off the silver bullet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this thing is... I'm sorry, folks. If I was a werewolf, I would have made a beeline for Marty as he was loading the damn gun in, or bullet in. But this thing is just watches him do it all, and then gets shot. Well, come on. Did I get the stream pulled at all?
No, just yeah, I
Okay,
don't know.
good. Because it just suddenly. All right, let's see here. Okay, it's still got a time on my end, so yeah. Yeah, probably don't want to. Yeah, it gets shot in the other eye. So it's like, damn, crack shot, kid. And the regression is actually pretty well done, folks. I mean, you see the hairs start to regress, also start to burst back in or regress. The feet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm probably going to get this thing pulled anyway. So, and the hairs are just, they had, or my guess here is that they had a prosthetic chest with a thing that pulls the hairs in. And
Something
this
like
is the
that.
only,
Yeah.
and this is the only digital shot they had where the body is starting to regress right here. And then he gives his holy jumped up Jesus Palomina. And then, well, we get our final scare here. Keep pausing, keep pausing, keep pausing, keep pausing. Boom! I mean, yeah, it's like, oh shit. It's basically the body's last reaction or last burst of life, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, that's my guess at it. Clearly, Red's prepared to die for his family here, and that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure he also gave up drinking after this. I mean, wouldn't you? Be like, I am never drinking again.
Well, at least I wouldn't drink for a while.
Yeah, and yeah, he's checking his arm here because he actually did cut his arm. It's like, oh shit. And the joke, he's like, I can't feel, or she's like, what's wrong? I'm fine, except for my legs. What's wrong? I don't think I could walk. So it's a nice little joke, and so love you. I haven't always been able to say that, but I can now. I love you too, Marty. Good night. Now, the way that she says that, it almost makes it as if or that Marty, at the time that she's narrating it, might not be with her anymore, may have died, or something, or of that
possibility.
Yeah. And it is a nice way that they did the narration where it's Jane that's narrating it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was very cool because it's like, or it just layers or adds that extra layer of suspense and storytelling to it, and it does a really good job. What did you think of the movie?
I very much enjoyed it. Like I said, I appreciate it that it's like narrated from the sister's perspective because it has that how do I put this? Almost like third party neutral feel. Like, throughout the movie, because it's basically just relaying the events that happened before going into discovering what is actually happening. And then the siblings dynamic felt very real because, like I said, I've had similar experiences.
Yes,
being an older sibling, and dealing with getting blamed for shits that somehow I should have known my younger siblings were getting into, and things like that. And then Uncle Red.
I mean, how old were you when that whole trimming the bangs thing went down?
I was probably 11 or 12. So he would have been.
Expected you to.
Well, he would have been. No, I might have been a bit younger than that. So I think he was like first or second grade. Well, no, he might have been 7 or 8.
6.
Because he was my brother was born in October, so he's kind of like one of those situations where it's like he's slightly older than other kids in the class because of when he started school. So I think he was either 7 or 8, and I was either 11 or 12.
Nice.
I Like, I had no idea that he decided he wanted to trim his own bangs. I just wanted to watch The Sandlot.
Yeah. So how old were you when you first seen this movie?
I honestly can't remember. Probably about the same age or close to it. Like, I saw this well after I saw, watch movies like Fright Night. Like, to me, Fright Night was the one where it's like I was definitely young, on the young side. That and Gremlins, where I was on the young side when I watched that.
Yeah.
Because I remember I was younger than 6. I was younger than 6 because I was, for a while, I made my dad record over Gremlins because I had a nightmare at one point when I was a kid where I dreamed I had a nightmare with the Gremlins in it. And if I had woken up and realized it was just a dream, it probably wouldn't have been as bad. But if you can picture, like, kind of like imagine I'm waking up as a child and seeing the brightness of the moon shining on, I believe I had a dress hanging up in the room, and the light hit the dress and then caused a shadow on the wall that looked like a little creature with big ears.
Oh, damn.
I flipped.
Wow. Yeah, probably get me to flip too.
But yeah, but I was a little bit older than you. Like, like the older, like not like old, like older, but like like well older than 4 when I first saw the movie. But I liked it. I think it's an underrated werewolf film. I think it's leagues better than the novella.
Yes, definitely.
Because it felt more cohesive, whereas the novella felt like it was all over the place.
Not to mention the novella also shows that he's bald, a lot older, and I'm like, I feel that Everett McGill was at the right age to portray him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Instead of an older dude.
Yeah.
You watched it on the Sci-Fi Channel, did you? Nice. Trey, that is, in the chat.
Yeah.
Me, yeah, I was 4 when I saw this. I watched it right after Fright Night, the original. And I've loved this movie ever since. And I managed to get it on DVD a while back. I have the physical media for it. Now I also have the digital media for it. That's why I was able to play it here for you guys. Again, fair use, YouTube. And we're promoting this film. We love this film. This is a great film.
Yeah.
As a werewolf movie, this movie for me is definitely top, or it's number 1. This is my favorite werewolf movie because it doesn't get too gory. Yes, you see a head fly. Yes, you see a severed head. And it doesn't show any much more than that, except for the dude missing half of his face. But other than that, there's not really much else. And it tells a great story. It has great acting with the kids. It just does, or it keeps the pacing going. It doesn't really slow down too much in certain scenes. It shows a little bit of happiness here, a little bit of happiness there, and then it shows you the tragedy of the attacks.
Mm-hmm.
It does a good job keeping the werewolf obscure until the end where you see it clearly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how horror movies really want it, or did it back in the day, folks. And I honestly think that it was, or me personally, I think it's better than Howling. I have not seen American Werewolf in London yet. I do want to see it eventually. It's just I'm trying to find it so I can. I don't have access to play physical media right now. I'd actually have to buy a new DVD player, one that can also do 4K and stuff. But as for werewolf movies, this is my top choice.
So I put it in like the top 5 definitely, because The Howling would be up there. American Werewolf in London would be up there. Yeah. Dog Soldiers would be up there.
Definitely.
See, like someone made a comment. Where did I see it? It might have been on Twitter, where it's like we've had so many vampire movies. It's kind of time for werewolves to get their due. in terms of cinema. Because I feel like they just become like overshadowed by vampire lore, and we just need like some good werewolf films.
Okay, so I'm looking at the werewolf in The Howling. Those ears bother me. I mean, those V ears like this. I'm like, okay, I'll watch.
I'll show you.
Film. Don't worry, I'll see this
film. On my wish list
again.
is. Let me see if I can. Well, I'll just show you. I'll just share my throne screen real fast to show you my wish list, so you have an idea of what the werewolf and the werewolf
ears
London looks like. Because I have like the figure.
Oh, I've seen that.
Part of my wish list.
I've seen that.
Okay.
Yeah, I've seen that. Or I know the American Werewolf in London. I know what that one looks like. That one looks pretty freaking nasty. And that's awesome.
It is.
Werewolves were cool in the Underworld films. Actually, yeah, that's because they wanted the original design of the lichen to be more cat-like instead of canine. They went feline instead of canine for the facial design of the lichen originally, and then when they were doing William in the second one, they went full-blown wolf. And then, I mean, as much as I like the Underworld films, folks, they were very inconsistent with the design of the lichens. They added more fur in the second one, and then, well, okay, you can make an argument that those ones were, or the ones that were more hairy were the ones that could never transform back. But then you also still had a couple of ones that were bodyguards, so didn't really fit there. But then you have in the third one, all the ones that look like William did in the second one are the ones that didn't, or are the ones that can't turn back into human. And the ones from the second one are now the evolved lichens. Ginger Snaps is an interesting werewolf movie. Yes, for me, it is Silver Bullet. Or I have seen The Howling, but I do not consider it in the top, or in my top picks. This one, Silver Bullet, Dog Soldiers, Ginger Snaps. Those are my top 3 werewolf movies. And The Wolfman, the original, and then the remake of The Wolfman, because I actually think that was a pretty good film. Problems in the final act, yes, but
I wasn't a fan of the remake. I wasn't really.
Anthony Hopkins played it well. He played psychotic very well.
He was good. Benicio del Toro was abysmal.
Yes. I mean, it's not to mention when they did the extended cut of it, they screwed up the extended cut because they should have taken out a line later in the film when it's like, yeah, I received a telegram from my brother to come here, or from my brother's wife. And it's like, yeah, except in the director's cut, she actually visited you. You didn't get the telegram. So you screwed that up. I mean, that movie was all over the place. It was a good concept. It was a good concept. But then they also had the different endings. Did you see all the different endings to it?
No, after I saw it the first time, I was like, I'm out. I wasn't a fan of it, so I didn't bother watching the different endings.
They had different endings. One where he actually kills her. One where she shoots him after she gets bitten, so she can carry on the curse. Or I believe those were the only 2 that they did. So, or the extra endings. One where it was the dark ending where he kills her and then waits for everybody else to get up there so he could slaughter them. And then the other one where he bites her and the bolt or the gun goes off, killing him, so that she could take the curse and continue it. I mean, it's like, I think they went good with the tragic ending instead of one of the 2 dark endings, So
I don't remember it well enough.
Yeah.
To know for certain. Like I said, I watched it once and I was like, I'm out.
Yeah. So how would you rate Silver Bullet? out of 10?
Objectively, I would give it an 8 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are like some slight gripes I have. But like I said, it's still markedly better than the novella. But subjectively, I would give it I think like a 9.5 out of 10 because it's very entertaining.
Yep.
Acting is very good. Like from like all of them, like particularly the main cast. And like despite the low budget feel to the production, it's very well acted.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's like what I would have given it pretty much. Like there's very little in terms of subjectivity, like gripes that I have because it's a very well done werewolf film.
Yep. For me, objectively, 8 out of 10. I agree. There is a small cutting issue, some small pacing issues. However, the movie is 90 minutes long. However, it does feel like it's shorter than that because the pacing does kind of feel rushed a little bit. Acting, however, as you said, it's very well put together. Subjectively, it is a 9 to 9.5 out of 10 for me as well. Moviegoer, where I'm not breaking it down based on entertainment value alone, this movie is a 10 out of 10 because it keeps your ass in the seat. It makes you feel a different range of emotions. It's entertaining. Where would you all place Silver Bullet over the other King books to films? This is one of his best ones, honestly, in my opinion.
This is one of the best adaptations.
I mean, it was well done too. The one with Tim Curry, the one with
that was well done. That's pretty well done.
The remake with the 2-parter remake. It's like first one was decent, the second one not so much. I mean,
yeah, not really. I mean, the first one had the potential.
Yes, the first one had potential.
The second one a little bit with the second part. The TV movie adaptation of Salem's Lot is good. With David Soul and James Mason plays Straker. That's a decent adaptation if you can find that.
Have you ever seen Dreamcatcher?
I saw it like years ago, and I don't remember it too well.
I never really thought that was decent.
I never really read the books. I can't compare it to the book. Like from my experience, at least like stories that I like remember reading from Stephen King and the adaptations. Inevitably, the adaptations are leagues better than the books themselves.
Yeah.
So, The Stand TV miniseries with Gary Sinise, that was decent, better than the book. If you have a chance to watch that, I think it's like 4 parts. Like 3 or 4 parts.
You ever seen Under the Dome?
I haven't seen that.
That was freaking nuts. I mean, I thought it was decent when it started, and then it just gets like progressively worse as it goes on.
So, but it's like I think like the series was better than the Stand series. Like the miniseries is better than the book. What else? That's about it.
Alrighty.
Night Flyer was interesting. Night Flyer was interesting. I do remember seeing that. That had Miguel Ferrer, I believe. He was also in the Stand miniseries, if I recall correctly. That was an interesting movie. So yeah, but I'd say it's like it ranks up there. But like then again, like most of the film adaptations are better than his actual books. So
yeah, they kind of are. Anyway, folks, that is going to wrap this one up. Next month we got The Crow and Shin Godzilla. I'm probably going to be watching the Americanized version of it. I mean, I know that the Japanese version is better with the dialogue, but I own the Americanized version of it. But yes, we're going to be doing The Crow first because The Crow takes place closer to Halloween, and the Shin Godzilla next on the single or after because, well, it's going to be closer or it's heading to December when we all can see Godzilla -1.
Mhm.
I am hoping that my small town theater does Godzilla -1 so I can go see it because I really do want to see that movie in the theater.
Chances are I'll be going with my siblings because I know they at least they are interested in seeing it. So
I mean, I am a huge Godzilla fan, and I would love to see, or because from what I'm seeing from the trailers, that is some very tight CGI.
mm-hmm. So it looks
Anyway,
good.
we also have 1s and 2s next month, which you announced on your channel was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the 90s and 92.
Yeah.
So Secret of the Ooze, great stuff there with those ones. Can't wait for those discussions.
Mm-hmm.
Again, folks, Sunday is going to be Tolkien Sundays. We're going to be me and the Hat Crew are going to be discussing Fellowship of the Ring. It's not going to be scene by scene because I don't want to do too much, or I don't want, or as much as I need the watch time. So if you guys can watch some videos and whatnot, get my watch time up, that is appreciated because I still need 1,000 hours left. But also before we go, thank you to Soul Assassin, Fuck Norris, Citizen Ronin, Trey Courtney. Jesus, a lot of people in the chat tonight, or a lot of chatter in the chat tonight. Hatersaurus, thank you for coming in. Gravy D. Let's see here. How many other people? I believe Neozoic was in here at one point. But yes, thank you to all who are in the chat. Mara, let people know where to find you.
You can find me on my main channel. I primarily been doing streams because there hasn't really been much to talk about, but I do at some point want to get back into making videos, and you can find me under Jade Shadow. That is my kick that Orange Chat is highlighting. I do primarily my gaming streams there. However, since Twitch walked back their stupid decision, or at least initial decision of not letting people dual stream on any other platform other than along with Twitch, I'm going to try my hand at that at some point, possibly next week or at least early next month, pretty much. But I do primarily my gaming streams on Kick, which I'll be live there tomorrow playing the Spider-Man 2 game. And then what I think I'll do, since I didn't go on Twitch this afternoon, is I'll play Alien Isolation on my Twitch Saturday afternoon, so I don't completely ignore that channel before I talk nerdy. And I just have to figure out from Steph, who has not responded, and I know she's seen my message, whose channel Talk Nerdy to Us will be on this Saturday. Because normally it would be on my channel this weekend, but we kind of skipped last weekend, so I wanted to see if from her if it's okay if it's still on my channel, so we keep the schedule pretty much. Right. So when she responds, I'll know for sure what channel will be on. But that'll be this weekend, and we will be in costume.
All right. So. Nice. All righty, folks. So I just got the call that I need to go out and pick somebody up. So, Mara, thank you for coming on. Everybody in the chat, thank you for supporting the channel. Y'all know where to find me on Twitter and, well, X now. And you can also find me on my other socials, and I'll try to get some more content out tomorrow and such. Anyway, this has been Orange Chat and Mara. Y'all have a wonderful night, and always remember, stay humble.
Good night.